The man had a light bulb stuck in his mouth. While decorating the Christmas tree, he just wanted to hold the ornament in his mouth to free his hands, but it got stuck and wouldn't come out. Logically, if it could go in, it should come out, right? So how did it get stuck? The paramedic told him to stay calm and try breathing evenly through his nose. Then she tried using pliers to pull the light bulb out. However, the surface was too smooth and there was no grip. If the glass broke, he could swallow it and cut his throat or esophagus.
You're right, I can't squeeze and yank. We could try the yank out or suction tip, maneuver around the object and hit his gag reflex.
Yeah, it's worth a shot.
They considered inserting a tube to make him vomit, but there wasn't any space for it. In the end, they decided to try the Heimlich maneuver.
Alright, come on.
Here we go.
The man finally escaped the danger. Never do something this silly again.
Thank you.
You idiot.
A girl was hit by a car and the driver fainted first. A few minutes earlier, the man had called the police, saying he had hit someone. Paramedics rushed to check the girl.
Sylvie, this is Gabby. We're here to help. Can you tell me what hurts?
Just my wrist.
Is she gonna be okay?
After realizing she needed to go to the hospital, the man started worrying about the ambulance cost. His fragile heart couldn't handle it, and he collapsed on the spot.
You gotta be kidding me.
The paramedics quickly checked him and found no pulse. They started CPR while the girl, both curious and scared, wondered why the driver seemed worse off than she was. After one shock, the man regained consciousness. The paramedics explained that he had a heart attack and couldn't be moved just yet. He also needed to be taken to the hospital. However, regulations require only one patient per ambulance, so they couldn't leave either behind. The paramedics called for a second ambulance. Both were taken to the hospital. Hope the man's heart can take the shock when he gets the bill for 2 ambulances. An ambulance skidded off the road and crashed. Firefighters arrived to assist. Inside was a patient suffering from a bee sting, while the accompanying paramedic had been injured. The back door of the ambulance was jammed, the side door wouldn't budge, and the vehicle itself wouldn't start. The firefighters planned to forcibly break open the doors, but the driver begged them not to, explaining he would be personally responsible for the damage costs. Out of respect for their fellow first responder, the firefighters agreed to try a less destructive approach. However, the patient inside started seizing.
Guys, we can't wait! We gotta get in there now!
Realizing the urgency, the driver stopped objecting. Firefighters used hydraulic shears to pry open the side door. The man inside was on the verge of suffocation.
Hold him down!
I can't.
Hold him down!
I got him.
The paramedic quickly intubated the patient. His breathing finally stabilized. A life was nearly lost over a jammed door. With the damage to the ambulance, the driver's future consequences remain uncertain. A high school girl suddenly experienced severe stomach pain, frightening her classmates. The paramedics discovered she was pregnant. They asked the teacher to quickly take everyone else out.
Honey, do you know you're pregnant?
The girl seemed completely unaware, thinking she had just eaten too much recently.
What are you feeling, Darla?
It's like pressure down there.
Turn over on your back.
After examining her, they realized she was already in labor and would have to give birth right there.
Oh, my dad's gonna kill me.
With great effort, the baby's feet emerged first, but the baby's shoulders got stuck in the pelvis. The head couldn't come out. They lifted the girl's legs and helped her adjust her position. Still just a child herself, she had no idea how painful childbirth could be. Finally, with all her remaining strength, the baby was born. In that moment, she truly understood the struggles of motherhood. As for how she would explain this to her father, hopefully, seeing the baby would soften his heart. But this is a reminder to all girls. Make sure to protect yourself and avoid regret later on. This parking job was seriously high level. Somehow, the car ended up on top of a shopping cart as firefighters approached.
Hey! No! Come on! Sir! Do not move! My head is...
The woman inside the car stared blankly, saying nothing, until her husband told her it was okay to speak. Only then did she explain that she had accidentally hit the shopping cart. The man was rescued quickly, but he refused to go to the hospital. That's when the firefighters noticed something odd, bruises on the woman that didn't seem to be from the accident. They asked her if she needed help. It raised serious concerns about possible domestic violence. The man tried to brush it off, saying the injuries were minor and didn't require a hospital visit. The firefighters cleverly distracted the man by asking him about the car. While he was occupied, they managed to get the woman out and sent her to the hospital.
What is this?
Firefighters responded to a car accident call, but when they arrived, the vehicle was empty, with the emergency system still activated. Suddenly, they noticed something under a large tree up ahead, a boy lying beneath. He was unconscious but still breathing faintly. A driver arrived with the boy's mother. He explained that strong winds had blown down the tree, trapping the boy underneath. He had slammed on the brakes, activated the car's emergency system, and immediately ran to find help. As the firefighters gently called out to the boy, he opened his eyes. They encouraged him to stay strong, reassuring him that they'd free him soon.
Hey! What's taking so long? Let's give him some. Yeah, we're almost there.
The firefighters used a lever to lift the heavy branches off him.
1, 2, 3. Slide.
Be careful with him.
A little more, right there. All right, we're clear.
Fortunately, he was only unconscious and not in any life-threatening danger. In the face of nature's wrath, human kindness prevailed. Let's give a round of applause to the brave driver who stepped up to help. Never seen such a severe car crash. The entire back half of the car was gone, yet the driver was still alive. Firefighters used hydraulic cutters to pry open the door and rescue him. Unfortunately, the person in the passenger seat wasn't as lucky. His injuries were too severe. The back half of the car was found over 100 meters away, with a female passenger trapped inside. She was terrified, but the wreckage was blocked by a fence, making the rescue more difficult. The team stabilized the vehicle and carefully dismantled it to free her. She had a fractured arm and some lacerations and was rushed to the hospital. However, everyone soon realized that the driver they had just rescued had vanished.
Where's the driver?
I don't know, he was right there.
We got a runner.
After investigating, the police found out that the driver had kidnapped and was forcing the other two passengers to withdraw money from a bank. It's hard to believe such a terrible crash, yet the woman in the backseat was only lightly injured and the driver managed to run off unharmed. A boy was found trapped in the wreckage. Firefighters had missed a boy during the rescue, a mistake that almost cost the child's life. Earlier at the accident scene, a small car had been crushed under a truck with the car's front end on fire. The firefighters first extinguished the flames. A female victim was rescued and immediately sent to the hospital. After confirming multiple times that no one else was in the car, the firefighters returned to the station. However, during the final cleanup, someone suddenly heard a strange sound coming from the car. They worked together to open the roof, but the inside was empty.
Oh no. Okay, hey. Wait, hey, buddy, you're okay. Hey.
The boy was in bad shape, unable to even cry, and fell into a coma after being rescued. The firefighters quickly contacted nearby medical personnel, who provided emergency treatment before he was rushed to the hospital.